A warm welcome to the video preview of the Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship. My name's Ben Jacobs, the editor of Sports Talk. Alongside me, the tall frame of Robbie Greenfield, the editor of Golf Digest Middle East. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy and a number of other golfing giants, including Justin Rose, the American Jason Duffner and three-time winner Martin Kaymer, are all playing between the 17th and the 20th of January. On the 19th of January, the Saturday, if you wear Tiger Woods red, you get in for free. So an epic fail on my behalf and Robbie's as well. But Robbie, on a serious note, this tournament rightly deserves its billing as a Middle East major.
It really does. It's got everything other than the title of World Golf Championship, Ben. It's got 8 out of the 10 top players in the world last year, another fantastic field this year, spearheaded by the two biggest names in the sport, Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, who, while last year they hadn't played together in the same group, it was the first time they'd done so on the national course. This year there's a semblance of a rivalry developing that we're all very excited about.
So, many big names, but as Robbie alludes to, the focus on one Rory McIlroy and of course Tiger Woods, the former world number one. Let's start though with the man who currently tops golf's rankings, Rory McIlroy. He's got a superb record here, second last year, the year before that the runner-up as well to Martin Kaymer, and once more with Martin Kaymer winning it the year before that one, third place. So he has to start, not just because of his world ranking and form in 2012, but his record too here in the UAE capital as one of the favourites.
Absolutely one of the favourites, obviously clear world number one, playing some fantastic golf. The way he finished last year at the DP World Tour Championship pretty much summed up his 2012, and obviously there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment there with his new clubs, his Nike clubs that he's literally just acquired and had the off-season to practice with, and that's the variable at the moment. We don't quite know how that transition is going to play.
Now, speaking of Rory's clubs, a little birdie tells me that you went down to the Butch Harmon School of Golf at the Els Club and not only saw them, but had the nerve to take them out and have a swing.
Well, I'm an opportunist, Ben. I happened to see a rather familiar or unfamiliar looking black Nike bag propped up in the Butch Harmon School of Golf office, and lo and behold, there was the putter that was used to win the US PGA Championship. It would have been rude not to at least take it out and have a couple of practice strokes. He'd never seen a claw grip before, but yeah, they look pretty good, those new clubs. He's got the covert driver in play, the new Nike red driver, Nike blades, and a prototype putter alongside his Scotty Cameron putter that he used to win the US PGA. We're not quite sure which one of those he's going to put in play yet, but it'll be an interesting period for Rory, but I'm sure he's got the talent and the ability to overcome any kind of difficulties with transition.
Well, it was the worst kept secret in golf during the off-season. Rory McIlroy joining Nike for a reported $250 million. Quite an astonishing fee in dollars, of course, that particular currency. It was announced officially at the Fairmont Hotel here in Abu Dhabi, and here is what the world number one had to say.
I'll start off with the VRS covert driver. It's a little different, which I like from the start. It's red for a start. Obviously, has the cavity back, which is a new design in the world of golf. And as soon as I hit it, I knew that it was going in the bag straight away. It just blew me away. My ball speed was up, my numbers were good, spin rates. And I'm hitting it further. So, I thought I hit it far before, but this is maybe taking it to a new level. So that's great.
You've been preparing with your new Nike clubs at the Els Club, the Butch Harmon School of Golf. Could you just talk a little bit about your pre-season and how you've adapted to everything in the bag and the ball as well?
Yeah, I've been testing the whole way, through Christmas and obviously been in Dubai in the last week, and everything's been great. I feel like I'm hitting the ball really well. I think the change to the new equipment has been seamless. I'm really happy with everything. And I haven't really spoke about the ball. The ball has been fantastic. I think it's this resin core technology. Being able to hit your ball in the wind and it stays so stable. So I'm really happy with that. I think that's something that will hopefully help me in the wind this year. And I'm just really excited to start the 2013 campaign as a Nike athlete.
So that was the world #1 Rory McIlroy playing alongside Tiger Woods here in Abu Dhabi. They are now stablemates as well. Robbie, the rivalry between Tiger and Rory has always been quite friendly. Now they're both with Nike and are surely likely to finally partner each other at the business end of the major. Are we going to see a bit more bite to their relationship on the fairways?
Well, we've been talking about their rivalry for the best part of a year now. They've only actually clashed once in a big tournament. That was the Honda Classic back in March of last year, where Rory pipped Tiger by a stroke despite a final round 62 from Woods. They haven't really bumped heads in a major yet. We're all waiting and speculating that that could happen in 2013. They're very good friends. They've got a lot of mutual respect for one another. They're now stablemates, which will bring them slightly closer together, and I'm sure they'll be paired together in more tournaments. But I think until they actually clash in a major, we're not going to see a real rivalry develop, and it would be great to see a kind of Nicklaus-Tom Watson rivalry develop between those two.
Well, Tiger Woods has got a very good record in season openers. He won the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines 6 times. Last year on his Abu Dhabi debut, he led going into the final round, could only card a level par 72 though, and what that meant is Robert Rock came from nowhere with a 2 under 70 and played the role of almost a gritty party pooper. Not many men can go away and say, I beat Tiger in the final round when he led. There's only about 9 in history.
Absolutely, Tiger's legendary at closing out tournaments. His record when he's had the lead going into the final round is unbelievable, really. And it was strange to see someone as unheralded as Robert Rock quite comfortably actually beat him in the end. It was a subdued performance from Tiger Woods, but I think what you've got to remember is 12 months ago he was still in that transitory phase where he was bedding in the new swing with Sean Foley. His short game wasn't as sharp as it is now. He's obviously got 3 wins on the US PGA Tour under his belt between then and now, so he's a different proposition this year. Obviously likes the course, it sets up well for him, so I'm sure we'll see his name at the top of the leaderboard at some stage this week.
Well, let's hear from the 14-time major winner Tiger Woods now. These were his thoughts ahead of the tournament, speaking at his official press conference.
It felt good. It felt good to be back out there again. I took a little time off, got away from it for a little bit, and then started gearing up for this week. And it certainly feels good to be back out there and in more of a competitive mode than going out there and obviously playing at home a lot of the holes.
Tiger, the European team captain, could well be announced tonight, and Rory has said quite vocally he thinks captains should only get 1 chance. Having endorsed Tom Watson from an American point of view, are those comments you disagree with?
Well, Tony Jacklin did all right, didn't he? And Bernard Gallagher? I don't know, did they do okay? Okay, well, they had it more than once. So, I don't know what the European Tour matrix is. We certainly have gone outside of our matrix model that we've used over the years with Tom. It's usually guys in their 40s or even early 50s who've won a major championship and were basically on the back end of their career. The European model's been different, over the years, and it depends what the committee wants to do.
That was Tiger Woods there. This national golf course certainly seems suited to his game. The same can be said for Rory McIlroy as well. Don't forget, as we mentioned earlier, 3-time winner Martin Kaymer and also the 2-time champion Paul Casey here as well. So quite a few players starting their season on a course that does seem conducive to their particular games. Now, Robbie, we'll look at the 17th and 18th, 2 fantastic closing holes in a bit of detail very shortly. But what about the rest of the course? What are going to be some of the key holes?
The beauty of the national course is it's a very straightforward course. There's no quirks, there's no tricks. What you see is what you get with it. It's just a long, demanding championship golf course. The rough is up. I think they've grown up slightly more this year, which will be perhaps pushing those scores down a little bit lower. But the scoring here has been fantastic in past years. Martin Kaymer reaching 24 under par, Paul Casey doing something similar. So really, it's a course that can be got at. There's a very difficult stretch on the front 9 between the 5th and the 9th hole with some very long par 4s and a difficult par 3 into the wind, the 7th hole. There's some scoring opportunities at the start of the back 9, and then it all gets on a sort of hang on to the seat of your pants time from 16 onwards. And I think we're going to have a little look at 17 and 18, but 16 as well is a very demanding dogleg left par 4.
Yeah, speaking of 17 and 18, the final 2 holes, Robbie went out on the fairways here in Abu Dhabi. Alongside him, Danny Jakubowski, the Director of Instruction at Abu Dhabi Golf Club. They had a look in a little bit more detail at the final 2 holes.
we're here on the 17th tee at the national course at Abu Dhabi Golf Club for the decisive penultimate hole of this Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship. It's a treacherous par 4, 483 yards in length, a dogleg right where the players have to carry a significant shot over the water, often into a prevailing wind, and then set up an approach shot to the green, which you see over on the right hand side by these grandstands. Now I'm joined by Danny Jakubowski, the Director of Instruction here at Abu Dhabi Golf Club. Danny, what's the pro strategy on a hole like this? It's obviously a very daunting hole, but you know, coming down the stretch, things are tense and they need to make a 4 or maybe even a birdie. What's the strategy here?
Well, Robbie, thanks. The first thing that the guys really need to do is they need to make sure that they hit the fairway. The rough's going to be long, so they're not going to be able to fire shots to the green if they miss that fairway. Look for most golf professionals here to start the ball just slightly right of that left-hand fairway trap, and maybe even just slide that ball a little bit with the wind. That'll get them on the fairway, and that gives them the opportunity to hit the green.
Okay, and obviously not a hole that you would usually expect to birdie. It's 483 yards, it's a long par 4. The wind plays a big factor, but Danny, if you had to make a birdie, if you're a pro here and they're standing on this back tee facing this daunting tee shot, what's your strategy?
Well, there's a certain physicality that most golf pros have, and they can certainly get an extra 20 yards if they need it. Now, providing that the wind is friendly and not too strong, they may go further to the right and maybe even draw the ball and shave off maybe 20 yards. If they can get an extra 20 yards closer to that green, they'll be able to fire at a pin no matter where it is. So that may give them a good opportunity.
Okay, it's a tricky green, it's a wide green. We're going to head up there now, take a look at some of the shots that these pros might face around the green. Okay, so we're here up at the green on 17 in some fairly brutal, treacherous and downright thick rough really. Now at 483 yards in length, not every pro, even though these are some of the best players in the world, is going to be able to hit the green in regulation, and to rescue their par they're going to need to somehow dig the ball from out of this horrible lie that you get when you miss the green here at the national course with the rough this high, and somehow play an accurate chip shot and ensure that they can still save their par. So we're going to head to Danny now, who's going to explain precisely how these guys are going to extricate the ball from the rough in a controlled manner using 2 different techniques.
Okay, the first shot that the pros will need to play is when the flag is a little bit closer to the edge of the green, and they're going to need more height, and they're going to need the ball to finish a little bit softer than normal. So typically what these guys will do is they will take the face of their golf club, which will be the highest lofted golf club. They'll turn it a little bit to the right, and that will stop the club twisting when it hits the grass. Now typically, and the variations of this technique depend on certain players and certain coaches, but typically you'll find they'll play this like a bunker shot. They'll make a relatively long swing, and they'll probably make quite a long follow through also, and it's going to look something like this. Okay, the second shot is when there's not such a premium on height and trajectory, and ultimately the golfer will have a little bit more green to work with, meaning the flag is further away. Now, typically this shot has a lot more margin for error, so unless the guys have to flop that ball up in the air, they'll more than likely play this shot. Here's how I like to do it. I'll take the ball and I'll play it further back in my stance. That means that my club will be coming down steeper, which means that hopefully some of this knee-high grass will be out of the way. Then I'll kind of chop down a little bit more, and I really want to make sure that I'm popping this ball out. Come out lower, and it'll also run a little bit further. And it'll look something like that.
We're standing on the back tee box of the 18th hole, the final hole on the national course for the Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship. It will all come down to this moment on Sunday afternoon, where a player steps up with the lead or tied for the lead, and they have to do something heroic on the final hole. And it's by no means an easy hole to pull off such a feat. It's 567 yards, dogleg right, it kind of slides round to the right, par 5 with a very deep green. And Danny, a tough tee shot, isn't it? Certainly under the pressure. You've got trees on the right-hand side, fairway bunkers to contend with, and really, for these big players, they're going to be looking to make a 4 here.
Look, I think, Robbie, when it comes down to it, they are going to have to make a 4, and a lot of it, again, is dictated by the wind. You have to hit the fairway, and it has to be long if you've got any chance of hitting the green in 2 shots. The other interesting thing to note about this tee shot is if you hit the ball left in the rough, you're going to be struggling to get yourself into an opportunity to hit a good approach shot, because the grass is that long that you may not get far enough to have a short iron to the green.
We've seen some dramatic tee shots over the years, notably Robert Rock last year, ending up in the rockery, appropriately enough, down on the right-hand side, and he actually managed to salvage a 6. He had a cushion at the time, but this is a hole where it can all go wrong.
It can, and more than likely will for some golfers. I think that in reality we're going to see a very tight finish that's going to come all the way down to this tee shot.
Well, the interesting thing about this hole is often the approach shot. Not everyone can actually make it up into, so we're going to go up to around about 60 yards short of this very deep green and have a look at some of the pitches that will really determine the Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship. Right, we're standing on the 18th fairway, just about 50 yards short of this very long and deep green, and this is where it will all come down to the crux on Sunday afternoon at the Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship, behind this wonderful scene of the iconic Falcon Clubhouse, these tremendous corporate hospitality pavilions that you see behind, which will be rammed full of spectators coming to crown a new Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Champion on Sunday the 20th of January. Now, Danny, the difficulty here with the players, because most of them will lay up, it will take a huge drive, of course, to set up a chance to go for the green in 2, but if you lay up about 50 yards short of this green, just short of these bunkers here, because it's such a long green, it could be anything from 100 yards to 60 yards.
Correct. Yeah, the big thing here is the pros. This is where their caddies come into play, because these pros, they know their numbers. And this is all about playing the number. Once they get their number in and they're factored in any wind or pin position, it's a matter of choosing the club, choosing the swing, and most importantly, really committing to the swing.
Well, luckily we have a man who knows his numbers as well. His name is Danny Jakubowski, and he's going to demonstrate 2 different type of pitch shots that you may see on Sunday afternoon here at the National Course.
Okay guys, what we're looking at here is essentially 2 different pin positions. The first pin position is going to be at the front of the green. Now remember, this green is 50 yards deep. So the first shot is going to be around 55 yards. Now my full swing with my sand iron goes about 100, 110 yards. So quite simply, what they'll be looking to do is make a half swing, and let's see how we go. Now making sure that we control the trajectory and nose and belly button faces the target on the follow through. And that's that. Okay, so now we're going to play the second pin position, which is now essentially at the back of the green. As I mentioned, this green is quite deep from front to back. So if that was a 55 to 60 yard shot, we're now looking at around 110 yards. So I've selected my pitching wedge, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a nice smooth swing. You'll probably see my club get up to about shoulder height. Again, like any good pitch shot, we want good tempo. We want to make sure that our nose and belly button's facing the target on the follow through. And there we have it. That's all the way up the back.
Well, you know what, Danny, looking at those 2 shots, I'm starting to wonder why you're not out there competing yourself this week. Those were the last 2 holes here at the National Course. The 17th, a daunting, treacherous 484-yard par 4, sure to provide plenty of problems for the players come tournament week. And here, the 18th, this iconic 18th. Behind us, the Falcon Clubhouse that's become such a recognisable landmark in Middle Eastern golf. And before we go, Danny, I've got to ask for your prediction. I'm going to wait until I hear what Ben has to say before I make any predictions of my own, because I want to canvass opinion, but who's your money on?
Look, emotionally, I'm going to say one of the Australian contingent, but I think the smart money would have to be on the form players. I'm going to throw in maybe a Justin Rose. I think Justin Rose is in good form. He's a great golfer, and I'm sure he's pretty handy with those pitch shots as well.
Well, it's his debut here this month, but let's see if the world number 4 can walk away with the Falcon Trophy at the end of this week. That's all from myself, Robbie Greenfield and Danny Jakubowski. Thank you.
So that was Robbie out on the fairways alongside Danny Jakubowski, the Director of Instruction here at Abu Dhabi Golf Club, and more importantly, one of the only few men that is smaller than me.
Well, I think that's debatable, Ben. I think we'd have to stand you together and then we'd really know.
All right, pipe down you. Now, prediction time. We all know that Rory and Tiger are amongst the favourites, so I'm going to forbid you from plunging for either. What I want is an out-and-out winner and then a name who you think may just contend, a dark horse who's going to finish on the leaderboard.
Well, look, even if you offered me Rory and Tiger, I'd give you the same name. I'm a firm believer in horses for courses, and that's why I'm going to go for the three-time winner and Ryder Cup hero, Martin Kaymer.
Shocking choice.
Now, it's not. Before you scoff, I know he missed the cut last year, but he's won here 3 times. Of course, that's going to bring a lot of confidence in itself, but the putt, the win late last year, Martin Kaymer's fortunes are on the upswing, and that's why I'm going to go for him to add a 4th Falcon Trophy to his cabinet by the end of this week. For a dark horse, I'm going to persist with a name that I mentioned at the DP World Tour Championship, and that is the Middle East specialist Henrik Stenson, a powerful player who, when he gets on a roll, is really unstoppable. So I'm going to go for those two. I'm going to ask for your predictions. An out-and-out winner and a dark horse pick, and I think everyone is going to see how badly you fare against my insightful picks.
Henrik Stenson, the most erratic golfer on the planet, is somebody that you've plunged for. If a Swede is going to be anywhere near, it's going to be Peter Hansen. Second in the Race to Dubai rankings last year, solid season, really great in the Ryder Cup, can hold his own with anyone. Putting has massively improved, as is his short game, particularly the sand save percentage, and I think he is going to be right up there. The dark horse, and I'm not even sure whether you can call him that, because this could be a breakthrough year for Torbjørn Olsen, who is very highly sought after at the moment in terms of sponsors. Nike have just signed him. Many in the game think this guy is going places. He's more powerful than another prodigious young talent, the ADTA ambassador Matteo Manassaro. Again, his putting has improved as well, and I think that he could be right up there. So those are our, if you like, 4 predictions. Mine, once again, is Peter Hansen, and alongside him Torbjørn Olsen. Robbie, remind us of your 2.
It's Martin Kaymer to win. The dark horse is Henrik Stenson.
If you disagree, you can tweet us. All of Robbie's 150 or so followers can be found at
Rob_Greenfield.
My 12,000, I repeat, 12,000 followers are at Jacobs Ben. And if you want to find out more about some of the things our respective magazines do, or follow us throughout the tournament, you can go to Golf Digest's Facebook page, facebook.com/golfdigestme. You can also follow Sports Talk via facebook.com/ME Sports Talk. That's all we've got time for. Once again, a reminder, the tournament runs between the 17th and the 20th of January here at Abu Dhabi Golf Club. On the Saturday the 19th, if you wear Tiger Woods red, you get in for free. Do continue to let us know your thoughts, and from myself, Ben Jacobs, the editor of Sports Talk, and Robbie Greenfield, the editor of Golf Digest Middle East, enjoy the tournament and goodbye.